Hello my friends, welcome back to another HP Gaming GameLINK video. Do we have something epic for you today? It is launch day here in Australia, so if I'm a day early for the rest of you, I apologize in advance, or not, you're very welcome. Today we have something of truly epic proportions. We are going to be trying to defy the Dragon Army as we take a look at the Deluxe Collector's Edition of Dragonlance, Shadow of the Dragon Queen. Welcome back, my friends. If you don't know me by now, my name is Matt. I'm sure we're going to become the very best of friends. As I said in the tease, the time has come. The Dragon Armies are marching, and it's going to be up to us to put a stop to their nefarious deeds. We are taking a look at this monstrosity, Dragonlance, Shadow of the Dragon Queen, the Deluxe Edition. Now, this is an epic adventure for D&D, taking characters from level 1 all the way through to level 11, which is fantastic. There is also a limited edition deluxe D&D Dungeon Master screen in here, along with a board game Warriors of Krynn, which you can use to tie in with your adventure to plan out some epic battles, which is absolutely amazing. So let's have a look. We're going to break this one down and we're going to get into it. It does have a little bit of a pull tag here, so I might do that first. Let's just show you some artwork on the overhead up here. And as you can see, there is this crazy dragon. You've got the Lord, you've got all the different heroes here. The artwork is going to be fantastic. I'm excited to see the artwork for the book as well, partly because the book in here is a little different to the standard book that you can get. And also, this set is releasing on time. The individual book itself and the deluxe hardcover with the artwork on it, the alternate cover art, has been delayed until January. So we're getting first look at this before everything else happens. Obviously, digital copies available on D&D Beyond, etc., which launch tomorrow our time, so a day behind, because obviously Australia is further along in terms of timeline and date lines and everything else as well. Let's have a look at the outer here. So we're going to put this one up here. I'll do this over the overhead. So if you look up here, you see there's this outer thing to rip this off like a band-aid. Let's do it. Hopefully I can do it. Of course, true to form. Let's rip this open as best we can. Let's do it. There we go. That's a terrible job. Terrible job. I hope anyone else who's got the other components, other bits and pieces will do a better job than I've just done. All right, you can see here we've got the Warriors of Krynn board game, which I believe was partially created by the epic gentleman known as Rob Daviau, which is fantastic. He did Pandemic Legacy, which is historical. So let's have a look here. We'll probably come back to Warriors of Krynn. Let's reveal, what have we got here? All right, so this actual outer box here is probably just going to be trash. I'm just making sure I'm not losing anything else here. We've got the Warriors of Krynn game itself, which is probably going to be the meatiest part of this. I mean, look at this thing. Absolutely epic. That is going to go on the floor. No plastic. I'm kidding, there is plastic. So this is the board game, Warriors of Krynn. We'll pop that just to the side for now. It looks fantastic. We have a DM screen. Now, if you look on the overhead, boom, there it is. I do not know if the overhead is going to do it justice. This is the adventure itself, the adventure book, and it's got this crazy foil cover. That is sick. Oh my gosh. When this arrived on Friday last week in all the massive boxes, because we've had tons of pre-orders for this, by the way, we have very few copies left. So if you are in Australia and you want a copy before Christmas, you have about 3 to 5 days left before we're locking down Christmas orders. So get in quick. I will put a link in the description to the store. The foil cover, it's fantastic. The book itself is going to be pretty straightforward. Obviously, spoilers. So if you are not a DM, this may not be suitable for you. Let's just pop this one down here. You've got little markers on the board. The march forward. War comes to Krynn. Different it's just, my book collection is getting massive, and I have no issues with that. You got the Warriors of Krynn, Life on Ansalon, different standard languages, Rumors of War, Currency on Krynn, the Nightland, people, Religion and Gods, Gods of Good in the regions. There's a whole set of history, law, everything else. This is set in the time of the War of the Lance as well, so something you may or may not be familiar with. How to create characters for the peoples of Krynn, gnomes, different references to the region based on the races that you can choose, the species that you can choose, which is a change that's coming in 1 D&D. Chapter 2 is a prelude to a war, running the adventure flow chart, etc. And there is just a whole lot of pronunciations here as well, which is fantastic. I saw one of those in Wild Beyond the Witchlight, which was really helpful as well. Shadow of War. Look at the art. Look at this. Fantastic. How to run this chapter, how to do character advancement, exploring the wastes. Let's not get too far in. I don't want to give you spoilers towards the end game because the adventure is going to be epic. I love it. And of course, there is the massive map as well, which I'm not going to tear out now because I will do that very, very, very delicately later on. All right, Continent of Ansalon. The book is fantastic. Another great production. I'm going to read through the adventure first, but there is already plans in place for multiple D&D groups that I operate with, that I run. They all want to take this for a spin, so that's exciting. We'll pop that one to the side for a moment. All right, now we have the wonderful DM screen, which is specifically designed for this one. So there's going to be a lot of bits and pieces that'll help you with information as you are DMing this campaign, references to the region, skill checks and ability checks that are specific for the adventure, etc. And we finally have a little bit of plastic, that we can chuck on the floor. Here I am smashing things, plastic on the floor. And you can see you've got some epic dragon antics here. I'm just going to unfold this and show you the back of it. The art is just, I don't know, it's got basically, I think it's got the complete adventure. So you've got the ampersand, the D&D ampersand in the corner, dragons on the march. You have dragons flaming out all over villages and things as well. And then you have, on the far end, the warriors taking the fight. That's quite a foreboding presence on the table as you make your way through the adventure. On the other side, you have the standard bits of pieces of information. Concentration, suffocating effects, obscured areas, travel pace, encounter distance, audible distance, visibility outdoors, skills and associated abilities, condition settings, which is obviously very, very helpful. Always good to have those there at a reference. Setting a DC, tracking DCs, Warzone encounters, Dragon Army encounters, Northern Waste encounters, Dragon Army suppliers, prisoners, and caravans, and Draconians. So you've got, I don't know if you can see that here on the overhead, different Draconians that you can encounter in the wilds, which is awesome. Humans, that sort of stuff. Digging that, that's fabulous, absolutely fabulous. Charlotte is going to get home from school and just lose her mind. She saw these arrive and was just, can we open one, can we open one? She's mad for D&D. As you know, if you've watched the channel before, so it'll be interesting to see how we go. Would you like us to run this through a live stream? What do you think? Let us know. All right, now we get into the battle for the world of Dragonlance. Whoop. Look at that. See, Rob Daviau, Stephen Baker have put this together. So I'm hoping this is, I think, a 3 to 5 player sort of skirmish game, but I do believe that the encounters that are in the scenario book here are directly correlated to what's in the adventure, which I think is bloody fantastic. So effectively, while it's not all minis, you could effectively use your own minis, and effectively you've got battle maps and everything else already included in this box. And that's bloody brilliant. All right, so let's lift the lid. I think, now it's interesting, this is not a sealed box. So the outer is obviously sealed, but there's no plastic to remove, there's no tabs to pull out, there's no damage to the box. It's actually quite pristine. So even though it's only a little cardboard outer, it's actually been very well transported, which is brilliant. It's amazing and really quite loose. It's not as difficult and everything else in terms of opening the box. I'm gonna put that one there. All right, we've got tokens, lots of tokens. Now I will say, I have no idea what is in this box or how it all sort of works, so I'm literally flying blind. Obviously, if I get anything wrong, it'll appear on the display on the screen below. But you've got different characters, different tokens. So you've got wyverns here, death dragon, red dragon, a rising city, which looks like it's some sort of location, a war engine, key moment tracker, which I think is to do with the different campaigns or different battle strategies, depending on how you play. This can be played without the campaign as well. It is a standalone game, which I think is fantastic. Goblin Chieftains, you've got +1 counters, negative counter effects. What's on the other side? Yeah, so different Vile Champions. So these are random recruits that I would imagine you draw, and you've got a Flying Citadel on this side. I will say, looking at the tokens here, they are incredibly thin chipboard. I don't know if the overhead is doing that justice, but they're not. I mean, they're a decent quality, but I would have preferred maybe a 3mm chipboard. I mean, they'll do fine. We'll look after it. But usually, if a punch out's a bit more tactile, if they're a bit thicker, this is okay. It's not the best quality in terms of how that works, but I think it will serve its purpose. On the next one, we have different flanks that you can approach from, more war engines. You have different tiles of trail, village, woods, Dragon Army supply wagon, bluff, rocky ledges, more woods, more death tokens, barricades and things. On the reverse, you've got more locations, tombs, you've got summoning circles, watchtowers. I kind of dig it. I kind of dig that. So you get different details depending on which way you go, and reference points for different adventures, different locations too. You have more locations, forest paths, command tent, abandoned outpost, more goblin prisoners. You've got hill giants, black robe wizards, priests of Thaskus, and you've got, again, Vile Champions that can be turned over. I like the randomization of it, so you never know what you're going to encounter as you make your way through the board. That's brilliant. Dragon Army skirmishers, a bastion, a fairy pool, and mountain roads. Lots and lots and lots of locations. It's fantastic. Okay, so we have here. Oh, these are dividers. That's nice. Okay, so the dividers are, again, they're probably a little bit thicker than a normal card divider. That's kind of good. I like that, a bit more durable. So if you have here unclaimed honor cards, this is actually quite a thick card stock. That's a punch out. That's not a card. I do like that in terms of dividing for your tray. That's very cool. Cards, future use, play, class cards, event cards, war engine cards, Dragon Army commander cards, alliance cards, all of the cool stuff. Love it. And then we've got here, is this for the 6 heroes? Maybe? Yes, so these are 6 heroes that you can play as. I'm assuming that you can use a blank hero board on this side to bring in your own heroes that you've created from the campaign if you use them concurrently, which I think is brilliant too. Stress levels, you've got options during your action phase, activate a class power, initiate a conflict, to move your hero, etc. Then you have the same situation, but you've got set heroes that you can use. So I wonder if you could use these set characters in the campaign if you didn't want to go through character generation, although why would you not want to do that? And then you can obviously use these, because I believe there's minis that represent these particular characters in the box as well. It's interesting. You've got reds and yellows and all that sort of theme throughout the rest of the components, but the hero boards are a purple color. Intriguing, something a bit different. That's fine. Again, these are the player boards. Look, again, no, it's sort of, they're not very dense, very sort of bitsy. It's okay, it'll do what it says on the box. That's what it's there for. But I'm just wondering, maybe they could be a little bit thicker, a bit more durable. We'll see how we go. I'm more worried about my 4-year-old getting to them than anything else. Charlotte will look after everything. We have a bit of rubbish that we'll put on the floor here. We have a scenario book. Now this is going to have the details. See, look, that's the floating flying city looks fantastic. You've got introduction. The Dragon Queen returns. This book represents scenarios for Dragonlance, Warriors of Krynn, Tales of Fantasy, Adventure and Warfare. You can use this in your Warrior of Krynn games. Playing D&D characters, you can use, of course, your own D&D bits and pieces. This is also for campaign progress. While playing a campaign, track your achievements using the sheet here on the tracking sheet, skipping scenarios, and in the campaign and the adventure. Training ground, running the scenario for the beginning. So training ground is good. It might be a good way to start. Then you've got here the Marshal's Gambit. Again, no spoilers, so I'm going to close those off. That's okay. We'll get rid of that. More rubbish for the floor. The rulebook is here with how it all sort of works, and I believe it's going to be very similar to, obviously, running a D&D battle, an encounter. You've got the rulebook, skirmish dice, battle dice, all the different components that are here, and the number of each of the components. The first time you play, punch everything out. Makes sense. Battlefield components, battlefield overview. So all these little arenas are made up, and there's different locations that make up the maps as you move through. The battlefield tiles are the larger tiles we'll have a look at in a moment. Markers, trackers, lots of different components, key terms, action timing, the active flank that you are using or attacking against, moving your hero, tiles connected by roads, ending a scenario in success or failure depending on what happens. D&D companion adventure. This game is designed to work with Shadow of the Dragon Queen, the role of the Dungeon Master, including the scenarios. You can participate in playing the game scenarios in two ways. You can play a hero, as long as the total number of players is 5 or less, or you can bring the role of Dungeon Master to this game by reading narrative text and scenario entries and rolling dice and revealing cards for the Dragon Army, which is kind of cool. I kind of dig that. And you've got different scenario entries based on the adventure that's keyed to the encounters that are keyed to the adventure. 5380. Oh my gosh, the components in this box. 146 encounters can be played through the Dragonlance campaign with this box. 146. Wow, that is a ton of content. Oh, I'm sorry, that's blown my mind. All right. Focus. Okay, we'll come back to the minis later. Obviously, we'll get in close for those. We have got tiles that will give you rundown. You've got here different river crossing. You've got a city gate, city wall. So these are double-sided, broken lands, farmstead. Now these different tiles and flags represent the different armies as the battle progresses. And I think you can obviously move your heroes in there to, take the fight to the enemy. Prairie. You have forest road, abandoned fields, mountains. You have scrublands. You have canyon, and you've got these little points here where you might put something else there depending on the map that you're playing on. Fields and foothills, crossroads, and the crags. I'm going to use some of these for my own campaigns. The steppes and a stunted forest. That's quite cool too. I like the fact that you've got those mix and match tiles. Bit of card there, which is obviously used for just storing everything. Cards and components for days. We have flag markers. So these are all slightly different as well. Let's sort of get into these and see what's going on here. These all represent different components. Could be terrain, could be... Well, that went well. Oh my lordy. Okay. Well, I've just made a mess. We have what look like little tokens that denote moving forces. I'm going to have to stop to pick all this up before I lose all the bits. My goodness, I'm so sorry. Can you tell that I'm excited? So these are little red tokens, and they are three-dimensional little pieces that will move around on the grids that we saw before, and they will denote movement of troops, enemies, Dragon Army, etc. I'm just going to pop those in that container so they don't go anywhere else. Oh, goodness gracious me. Plastic's going to go on the floor. You're going to have to give me a minute while I pick up those other pieces. Give me one moment. Now that that's sorted, my apologies. Let's have a look. We've got some battle dice here. And we've got some more purple components. Now, I believe red is obviously army bad. Red bad, purple good. That's what we're going with, which is why the player boards are obviously purple. I'm going to do this delicately now. Without going absolutely nuts for donuts. Oh my gosh. Okay, so those are going to go in there, and we're going to get rid of that one. So these are for the heroes, and you've got different symbols, which mean obviously different things. I will pop that up on the overhead. It's quite a dark purple. It's almost like a blue almost. And I do like they're all different shapes, so obviously they can be chained together as you move across the map and take the fight to the Dragon Army, which is brilliant. Dice, very important. We've got a movement die, what looks like a movement die, and then some combat dice, because of course D&D uses dice for combat, so why wouldn't this board game as well? I love the fact that it's going to be plastic on the floor, a game where there is heavy combat that relates to what happens and the effects roll on. It's like a massive legacy game, which is fantastic. So you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 combat dice, and then you've got a red, looks like a troop movement die potentially for the Dragon Army. And then they work. I have no idea if I'm rolling well. 1, 2, 3 swords is probably pretty good. 2 dragons could be good too. I'm not sure. We'll have to wait and see. We'll pop those ones away and bring this back in. We've got cards now. So War Engine cards. Let's start with the largest set first. And again, open these cards when you're ready to play your first game. Rob Daviau, Pandemic Legacy. This is a legacy deck. I really want to open it, but I don't know if I should. Oh, okay, all right. Wow. Okay, let's just do it. Let's just do it. Open this deck of cards when you're ready to play your first game. It's quite possible we're going to play our first game tonight. Oh, cardstock's nice. Plastic on the floor. Okay, they're all numbered, the cards. Start here. Find out more about this cooperative board game here. Start here, open these cards and ready to play your first game. Recruit. Barbarian, Bard, Cleric, Con, Animal Allies. So these are all characters, so recruit and then masteries, abilities, etc. And then you've got the different recruit. Oh, I don't know how much I can show you. I don't want to spoil it. But I think these cards are, different adventure points or beats through the different campaign modes and things as well. So we'll pop those back. Do not open these cards unless you're about to begin a veteran tier scenario. I love secrets. I love secrets. Do not open these cards until you're about to begin a legendary scenario. Okay. Wow, lots going on. I dig that so much. Recruit, start here, open these cards when you're ready to play your first game. Then I'm assuming these ones are veterans. Do not open these cards until you can play a veteran scenario, legendary scenario. Oh, you and your secrets, Rob Daviau. Oh my gosh. Can't help yourself. I must know. All right, so I'm assuming these are all used in the, obviously, tutorial-based games, etc., recruits. That sort of jazz. Plastic for the floor. So we have the start here, and then you have a response. After battle dice are rolled, you can re-roll up to 2 dice, so it's a special medal achievement for honor, etc. So these are different things that you can draw to give you a booster in gameplay. And then you've got things like Hobgoblin Swords for recruits, free action. So there's alliance cards. There is refresh 2 units on your side. That's cool. Constitution. So the cards represent different bonuses based on your 6 stats, your 6 abilities. So that's interesting. I wonder how that works. I'm going to have a look at that and read up on how that plays. Now I'm just going to lift this. I don't think there's anything else underneath here. There is a couple of bits of cardboard there. I'm not quite sure why they're there, but they are going to go on the floor now. They're there obviously to separate maybe some back trays in terms of shipping. Then we get the minis. So let's get our heroes out and I will tell you who is who in the zoo. And we might even get in a bit closer. Should we bring the camera down? Bring the overhead down for this one? Let's do it. All right, let's clear this away. We'll bring that down. We'll get the minis out and we'll show you who's who. All right, in one sec. All right, we have, our first one is Levna Drakehorn. And she is this Drakehorn or is this someone with, no, this is Ayek Ur. Ayek Ur, who looks like some sort of rogue. This crazy cloak on at the back here, which is awesome. I'm just making sure hopefully I'm getting this in and doing justice. I've got horns, other bits and pieces there, the daggers. The whitewash is interesting. And they've got like a little bit of a black wash for detail in there as well. I think it is black minis with a whitewash. Got her daggers out. Aik-ur. If I'm mispronouncing it, my apologies. But yeah, she's looking like she means business. That's kind of cool. Then we have Temble, who looks like some sort of magical wielder. Got this funky little hat on, which is kind of cool. And a staff, swinging stuff around. A little midgy sort of character as well, which is kind of cool. I like that too. Then we have, is this Lavina? Yes, or it could be Iriad. I am not sure who we've got here. Let's see. We've got Andir Valmakos. Andir Valmakos? Casting spells. Taking names. He's got his wizard staff there. I like the pose on this one. That's cool. I'm pretty sure these will just be representative of classes as well as we play through the different adventure, but I kind of dig it. That's cool. I'm assuming this one is going to be Levna Drakehorn because she's got this big-ass beefy sword and all the armor on. And she's got a helm there as well, which I think is going to give her some special abilities as well, because I know there's a magical item helm that can use to booster and bolster your stats. She means business. Don't piss her off. Then we have looks like a dwarf here. We've got Hrig Roundrook, who is swinging that warhammer like an absolute boss. He means business. Look at him. Nasty. I like his armor. All of his plate mail. Not so good on stealth, but he will whoop your ass, which is fantastic. And then I think our last one must be Iriad, maybe? Is that who we've got here? Yes. Sorry. Iriad, an archer. I hope I don't have this wrong, but that looks about right. He's got like a little circlet that he's wearing around his head. I like the scarf flowing in the breeze too. That's cool. The bow is quite cool. Archer, and he's got, is that a robotic leg? That's really cool too. I dig that. Fantastic. All right. All right, my friends, that is it. That is the contents of the collector's edition of Dragonlance Shadow of the Dragon Queen. Now, as always, we have been prone to show you a bit of a flyover of what this might look like when it's all set up with our board games. And there is a board game in this box, so we're going to do that as well. Without further ado, my friends, let's take the battlefield and have a look at the tutorial setup for a 5-player game of Warriors of Krynn, the Dragonlance Shadow of the Dragon Queen tie-in board game. That's a mouthful and a half. Let's roll that footage. It's no secret that I love D&D. I think that's evident. But this is just taking D&D to a whole nother level. The fact you've got the tie-in game, as I said, those encounters. There's an encounter book for 146 encounters you can run for your campaign with this box. And that is brilliant. That is just amazing, mind-blowing. I have no idea that was even possible, but hey, here we are. I am going to give you some feedback. I can't wait to review this set and see how we go. Obviously, it might take a bit of time to get through it to its completion. I'm going to read through the adventure, all that sort of stuff. There's lots of opportunities, particularly as we get closer to school finishing, for us to run this as an adventure with Charlotte and also with some other players who are chomping in the bit to get into this as well. I will let you know how that goes. Are you excited for Dragonlance? Is there anything you would like to see us play through this one? Do you have any questions about the adventure? By all means, let me know in the comments below. It would also be remiss of me not to thank our Patreon subscribers for continually allowing to let us do all the crazy stuff we do here on the channel. Thank you, sweeties. Mwah. We appreciate you more than you will ever know. For the rest of you who've been watching along, subscribing and enjoying our content, we love your work. Keep it up. Thank you very much. Hit that like button, hit the bell so you know whenever we post new content. It's a small action from you, but it means the absolute world to me and the rest of the team here at HPG. And thank you for keeping us doing what we're doing. There'll be plenty more board game content. We've recently unboxed the Shivers. That'll be going up as well very shortly. That's going to be another role-playing adventure of epic proportions as well, with a haunted house feel. Plenty more content. We've got about, 140 Kickstarters to get through, so lots more coming your way. Please stick around. Let us know your thoughts in the comments below if you've been hanging out for Dragonlance, and we'll see you back here for some more epic board gaming content in the not too distant future. Until then, folks, it is bye for now.